Hey, how's it going? Check this out. The House orders the Pentagon to release information on whether or not they weaponized insects, like ticks as an example, and did they release them? Oh, yeah, read all about it. This is exciting. The roll call. House orders Pentagon to say if it weaponized ticks and released them. The order requires the agency to say if it experimented with insects for use as a biological weapon between 1950 and 1975. We just look at it. Roll call. I'll leave a link in the video description box. This is the direct link right here. The House of Representatives, H.R. 220. This is a bill to provide national strategy to address and overcome Lyme disease and other tick-borne diseases and for other purposes. Now, if you go back to Plum Island, where a lot of experiments went on in the 50s and 60s and 70s, some pretty bad stuff. Plum Island Animal Disease Center of New York is a United States federal research facility dedicated to the study of animal diseases. It is part of the DHS Directorate for Science and Technology. Since 1954, the center has been a goal, or has had the goal, of protecting America's livestock from animal diseases. Oh, yeah. During the Cold War, a secret biological weapons program targeting livestock, was conducted at the site. Although it has slowly declined through the end of the century, this program has been controversial for years. You don't say. Now, let me share with you a little bit from the article, House Orders Pentagon to Save it Weaponized Ticks and Release Them. Before I do, I want to give a huge shout out to Noble Gold Investments. Have you been watching Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, and the crypto markets lately? Just been watching the headlines, following them a bit. There are some great opportunities right now. Click the links, learn how you can convert your 401 or IRA into Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, cryptos, some of it, all of it, as much as you want. It's easier than ever. They're giving free books and literature to Leak Project listeners. Click the links, Noble Gold Investments. You can even convert your 401 into gold, silver, Bitcoin. You can mix it up. Great opportunities right now. Get off the sidelines. All right, now, let me go back to this article. This is House Orders Pentagon to Save the Weaponized Ticks. The House quietly voted last week to require the Pentagon Inspector General to tell Congress whether the department experimented with weaponizing disease-carrying insects and whether they were released into the public realm, either accidentally or on purpose. The unusual proposal took the form of an amendment that was adopted by voice vote July 11th during the House debate on the fiscal 2020 Defense Authorization Bill, which lawmakers passed the following day. The amendment by New Jersey Republican Christopher Smith says the Inspector General shall conduct a review of whether the Department of Defense experimented with ticks and other insects regarding use as a biological weapon between the years of 1950 and 75. If the answer is yes, then the IG must provide the House and Senate Armed Services Committee with a report on the experiments, the scope, and whether any ticks or insects used in such experiments were released outside of any laboratory by accident or experiment design. Hello, it's about time. It's about time. What was the, weaponized insects. Check this out. Weaponized insects. Entomological warfare. Let's take a look at this real quick. It's public knowledge. It's a type of biological warfare that uses insects to interrupt supply lines, damaging crops, or direct harm to enemy combatants and civilian populations. There have been several programs which have attempted to institute this methodology. However, there has been limited application of this type of warfare against military or civilian targets, Japan being the only state known to have verifiably implemented the method against another state, namely the Chinese during World War II. However, EW, entomological warfare, has been used more widely in antiquity. In order to repel sieges, cause economic harm to states, research into EW was conducted during both the Cold War, World War II, by numerous states, the Soviet Union, the US, Germany, Canada, and suggestions show that it could be implemented by non-state actors in a form of bioterrorism. Captain Obvious could have told you that as well. It is noted that under the Biological and Toxic Weapons Convention of 72, use of insects to administer agents or toxins for hostile purposes is deemed to be against international law. Well, it's deemed to be. Oh, that's good. Now let's look at the description here. EW warfare, entomological warfare, is a specific type of biological warfare that uses insects in a direct attack or as vectors to deliver a biological agent. How about those zombie deer, folks? Remember the zombie deer? Such as plague or cholera. Essentially, EW exists in three variants, three varieties. One is infecting insects with a pathogen. I can't read very well today. And then dispersing the insects over target areas. The insects then act as a vector, infecting any person or animal they might bite. Another type of EW is a direct insect attack against crops. It may not be infected with any pathogen, but instead represents a threat to agriculture. The final method of EW, not to be mistaken for ED, to use uninfected insects such as bees to directly attack the enemy. Wow. I mean, they were using this in the 14th century. The Black Death carried by fleas. According to Jeff Lockwood, author of Six-Legged Soldiers, a book about EW, the earliest incident of entomological warfare was probably the use of bees by early humans. Lockwood also theorizes the Ark of the Covenant may have been a deadly situation when opened because it contained deadly fleas. And then, of course, during the American Civil War, the Confederacy accused the Union of purposely introducing the Harlequin bug in the South, although that was never proven. Wow. You know, when I first moved out here, I found a tick, and I attempted to flush it down the sink. And this thing was like a weapon. It was like a designed machine. It was holding on to it was latching itself onto the plug. You know, you can pull the plug down, it goes up and down. So this thing is latched onto it. I keep putting the plug up and down, and it's just hanging on there. I got the water on full blast. It's not even phasing it. The thing's underwater for about a minute, and then it plays dead. It's still alive. When it thinks that the coast is clear, it starts to move again. It's a little tiny tick. Could you imagine if one of those things had some type of biological agent in there? How easy they can embed in people? This is some pretty spooky stuff right here. You start playing God with insects and start turning them into weapons, it could be difficult to control. I was reading another article too. This is actually linked off of the Drudge Report. New scientist, tiny flying insect robot has 4 wings and weighs under a gram. This thing is tiny. It looks like a miniature fly with 4 little legs. There's a lot going on right now, folks. Thank you for watching. Hit the subscribe button. Be excellent to each other. And be the change you want to see.